Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Thank you all for coming. My humble obeisances to all of you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev. Today, at the very last minute, our speaker had some difficulties, and so Srimati requested me to give the class. Our Zoom host also is not able to come, so I will sort of help out Srimati because she is the one who's in charge of everything. So I will give the class and do my best to be the Zoom host from this point on. Thank you, Srimati, for doing all the other stuff. My humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we are continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, which is Dhritarashtra leaves home. And we are on text number 45, which I will share with you in a second. This is a very important verse and a very nice verse for us to understand really what is Krishna consciousness. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we offer prayers to Naranarayan Rishi, to the supermost goddess of learning, Saraswati Mataji, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, to all the Guru Parampara, and invoke their blessings. And I humbly seek your blessings so that I will be able to do justice to this service that has been given to me today. Tasma Jahiyanga Vaiklavyam Ajnana Kritam Atmanaha Katam Tvanatha Kripana Vartiram Ste Chamam Vina. So the translation is, therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they who are helpless, poor creatures will exist without you. Purport. When we think of our kith and kin as being helpless and dependent on us, it is all due to ignorance. Every living creature is allowed all protection by the order of the Supreme Lord in terms of each one's acquired position in the world. The Lord is known as Bhuta-Bhrit, one who gives protection to all living beings. One should discharge his duties only, for no one but the Supreme Lord can give protection to anyone else. This is explained more clearly in the following verse. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So who's speaking over here? Narad Muni has come on the scene and he is giving instructions, he's giving knowledge, he's giving enlightenment to a very morose Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj is feeling very, very discouraged. What has happened to my two uncles? What has happened to my aunt? Where have they gone? It must be my fault. I have not taken care of them properly. So being very disgruntled with me, they have left the house. They have gone away, leaving me bereft. And he's feeling very much, guilty and blaming himself and feeling very disgruntled and morose himself. And so Narad Muni has come over there and he is now giving enlightenment to Yudhishthir Maharaj. You're simply feeling anxious. What will they do without you? You have been taking care all this time. So now two old people and your old aunt, what will happen to them? How will they manage? Who will take care of them, etc., etc., etc. And you are now thinking of how they, who are helpless, poor creatures, will exist without you. So this is ignorance, because ultimately the Supreme Lord is in control of everything and everyone. No one can claim, yes, we are playing certain roles. Somebody is a mother, somebody is a father, somebody is an elder brother, somebody is an uncle, an aunt, a grandfather, grandmother, etc., etc., etc. But even if these people are gone, does the living entity who is dependent on them stop living? No, that living entity somehow continues. So similarly, Narad Muni is trying to explain to Yudhishthir Maharaj that do not think that because of you they are existing, because you took care they were all right or not all right, or any discrepancy on your part. You're simply an agent for the Supreme Lord's will, and therefore they were living in a very palatial home, this nice palace with nice amenities, with servants and with nice food, etc., etc. But now hearing Vidur telling him, what are you doing? You're living like a dog in the home of one whom you tried to kill. How shameful is that? And then on top of that, you have become very old and invalid. How long will you carry on like this? Now at least get out and go to perfect the human form of life instead of carrying on till the last minute like this and having to take another body. And Dhritarashtra finally sees the light and he leaves home. And Vidur warns him, do not tell anyone anything, because guess what will happen? No, uncle, you're too old. You shouldn't go into the forest. You shouldn't do this. You're blind also. And so many decades you have lived in opulence. You cannot manage in the forest, etc., etc. Everyone will try to stop him. Vidur knew that. So what did he warn Dhritarashtra? Do not tell anyone and just leave home. Just go. That's what he said. And Dhritarashtra took that message very seriously and left home along with his wife Gandhari. So here Prabhupada is enlightening us. When we think of our kith and kin as being helpless and dependent, it is all due to ignorance. Because ultimately every living entity is the child of God. And God has a plan for each and every soul, for providing for them, for protecting them, for everything that soul needs. So this is ignorance. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, I will share with you in a minute, it is said that no parents can save a child, no physician can save a patient, and no boat can save a drowning man if it's not the will of the Lord. So parents may try so many things when a child is ill, but if it's not the Lord's will that the child stays alive, in spite of the best medicine, the best doctors, the best hospitals, the best facilities, the best nursing care, the child will not live. On the other hand, the parents may not have very much resources and be able to give the best medicine, best doctors. But if it is the Lord's desire that that child lives, in spite of terrible conditions and in spite of great difficulty in acquiring medication or no medication even, the child will live because that is the Lord's desire. Similarly, physicians cannot save a patient and the boat cannot Save a drowning man. Let's see. Why is this not coming up? I don't know whether my internet is poor or what. Let me see if it comes up. I wanted to share this quote. Yeah, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician cannot protect a patient. And ultimately, a boat cannot save a drowning man. So this is an actual quote in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I hope it comes up, but if it doesn't, that's what it means. The explanation is given further from that everything rests on the Lord. Everything depends on the Lord. It is the Lord alone who is the deciding factor for everything that happens. There is a saying that not even a blade of grass can stir without the sanction of the Lord. Oh no, it says connection timed out. Let's try again. So the whole point I'm trying to make over here is this, that everything is in terms of the Lord's desire. So no one at any moment should think that everything depends on me, everything should be done by me, what will happen if I'm not there? Guess what? The world carries on. It may sound very difficult for us to follow, especially as mothers, fathers. We may think, oh, if I'm gone, what will happen to my children? What will happen to my kith and kin? What will happen to my family? What will happen to my spouse? But the sad truth of the matter is they'll carry on. They will, because they have to live. So yes, everyone gets heartbroken when a loved one dies. It is devastating to lose someone, but that's the nature of this world. That's the nature of this world. Therefore, one should discharge his duties only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord and not get entangled. You know, we develop a sense of proprietorship over our children also. My son, my daughter, my house, my car, all this is Maya, as Guru Maharaj says. I, me, mine. Who am I? I don't belong to even me. I belong to Krishna. Similarly, my kith and kin, my family, friends, relatives, my pet dog, my pet cat, including my pet parrot, everything belongs to Krishna. So when we discharge our duties, we should discharge our duties with the understanding that in this lifetime, temporarily, I have been given charge of these children or this husband or this wife, and I must carry out my duties for the satisfaction of the Lord, knowing very well that they are here in my life for this lifetime. And after this life is over, we really don't know where we'll go, where they will go. Do we know who our previous mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters were and where they are now? We don't. We don't. So similarly, after this life is over, how do we know where our kith and kin will go, where we will go? At least we should make sure that we go back to Krishna. Because that is the real position. We have taken birth and died so many times. And that's by that I mean our bodies have taken birth and died, many times. So Narad Muni is explaining, my dear king, do not be in illusion, do not be in the darkness of ignorance. Wake up and understand that this is all by the will of the Lord. And only the Lord's will is supreme. No one can go against the will of the Lord. Whatever Krishna decides, that's what is going to happen. So therefore, Dhritarashtra and his wife, and of course, Vidur was on pilgrimage, so he was wandering anyway, he was traveling. But Dhritarashtra, who was living in his home along with his wife, they left for the forest. So you should not lament, you should not grieve. In fact, you should rejoice. You should rejoice that they are aiming for the highest perfection of life. I shall tell you a story. Actually, it's not a story, it's real life. Mother Kunti, she is a very senior disciple. I think she's a Srila Prabhupada disciple, but I'm not sure. She was in New Vrindavan for many years. And she was very deeply devoted to all her duties, carrying out her deity services very nicely, preaching very nicely, etc. In the last part of her life, she developed cancer. Her body was racked with cancer. She went on preaching. And on the radio talk show, it was revealed that her body was almost 95% destroyed with cancer, but yet she was preaching. She was a warrior, spiritual warrior. So at the end, when the end came, people were coming and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and she was just listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. She was just deeply absorbed in Srimad Bhagavatam. And people were coming and they were crying, "Oh, Mother Kunti, you're leaving us, you're leaving us." And she was saying, "Why are you crying? I'm rejoicing. I'm going back to Krishna." She was feeling very strongly Krishna's presence because she had built up a relationship with Krishna all her life. She had very strong connection with Krishna. And so when the end came, she was ready. She was eager. She was not just willing, she was eagerly looking forward to going back to the spiritual world. So this is how we must be. There is a saying, when a baby comes, the baby is crying and everyone is laughing. But see to it that when you leave, you're laughing, even if everyone else is crying. So she perfected that. She perfected her human form of life by being completely absorbed in Krishna when the end came. And this is the great gift that Srila Prabhupada has given us. It's such a great gift, matchless gift, that we too, fallen as we are, rascal as we are, foolish as we are, ignorant as we have been given the highest of the high. This Harinam Sankirtan is to help us go back home, back to Krishna, provided we take it seriously enough to do it right. Now that's another story. You may not be so, serious or sincere. I'm speaking of myself. I wish I could be more serious and more sincere. I always think, there's enough time. I mean, next year I will be more sincere. Next year I will do this better. But there is no time like the present. And the present will slip away. And that so-called future time in which we decided to do something, that will also come and go. So no point waiting for some point at which to. If we decide that something has to be done about our spiritual life, we should do it now. Nothing like the present. Because time is going, and time goes only one way. Everything else may come and go. Health will come and go, relationships will come and go, wealth will come and go. But time goes only one way. Time gone is gone. It can never be bought, even for millions of dollars. Srila Prabhupada once in the morning class, he said this. It is now 7:25 a.m. in Los Angeles. And after a minute, it is now 7:26 a.m. I cannot buy back 7:25 a.m. even for millions of dollars. So the point he was trying to make is, don't waste time. Do everything you can to become more and more Krishna conscious, so that when the end comes, we are ready. We are prepared. We know that, hey, I'm not this body. We know that. Not theoretically, not just with the head, but deeply with conviction in our hearts, so that we just discard that body at the time of death and go back to Krishna. We must understand that all our dependents or not dependent, or whom we are dependent on, we are going to leave all of them. And they're going to leave us too. The only person whom we can take shelter of is Krishna. So, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamikam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayashyami Ma Sujaha. Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. And such a beautiful purport Srila Prabhupada writes over there, that do not hesitate, do not worry, do not fear, just depend on Krishna. Krishna himself is reassuring, I will take care of you. I will absolve you of all your sinful reactions. Do not worry, do not fear. Simply come and depend on me and take shelter of me and make your life successful. And Prabhupada has given us the formula. He's teaching us how to do this. Engage in devotional service, chant the holy names of the Lord, prescribed number of rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles as strictly as you possibly can, always looking to improve. In case we are not doing that so great, it's time for us to get serious and improve that area of our life. And read Srila Prabhupada's books, understand the philosophy, practice the principles of true religion as given by the pure devotee and make our life successful. What else is there to do anyway? Is there anything else to do? This is the only thing that needs to be done. So let me see if I can show you this. Oh, it's not coming still. Unfortunate. But it is here, Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see if I can pull up this one. Yeah, here. My dear Lord Nrsimhadev, O Supreme, because of a bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient, and a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. And see this purport. Through parental care, through remedies for different kinds of diseases, and through means of protection on the water, in the air, on land, there is always an endeavor for relief from various kinds of suffering in the material world. But none of them are guaranteed measures for protection. They may be temporarily beneficial, but they can afford no permanent benefit. Despite the presence of a father and mother, a child cannot be protected from accidental death, disease, and various other miseries. No one can help, including the parents. Ultimately, the shelter is the Lord, and one who takes shelter of the Lord is protected. This is guaranteed. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. And therefore, unless one is protected by the mercy of the Lord, no remedial measure can act effectively. One should consequently depend fully on the causeless mercy of the Lord. Although as a matter of routine duty, one must of course accept other remedial measures, no one can protect one who is neglected by the Supreme Lord. In the material world, everyone is trying to counteract the onslaught of material nature. But ultimately, everyone is controlled by material nature. And I'm here, I would like to share with you about why Krishna is then declaring, my devotee never perishes, because devotees also die, isn't it? Yes, what is meant over here is that our spiritual life can never be vanquished. That will never perish. Whatever level of Krishna consciousness we have reached, that will never be taken away. It is eternally in your spiritual bank account, and nobody can take that away from you. Krishna gives that guarantee. He says that he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So, what does the devotee do? I'm going to read out to you. This is very nice. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. So, simply by engaging in this process, we will become cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. We are still in the shower right now. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here, there is no such condition because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare should be continued without stoppage. This will protect the devotee from all accidental fall down. Thus, he will remain perpetually free from all material contamination. And this, my dear spirit souls, is the key. Srila Prabhupada said, I have given you all this Krishna consciousness procedures, chanting, deity worship, books, all these lectures, conversations, books, everything. Why? To get you to the point where you will chant Hare Krishna 24/7. Yeah. That's why he wants us all to chant, chant, chant and not say can't. So we may say, oh, how can I chant 24 hours a day? Well, the nature of the soul is to constantly chant. That's who you really are, spirit soul. And your soul is chanting 24/7. Once, one disciple, you're talking about the early days, very early days in the movement. He asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, are you chanting? Are you chanting, Prabhupada, all the time? So Prabhupada was writing something. He put his pen down and he said, come here. He called him over here. He said, put your ear to my back. So the devotee went round to the back and he put his ear to Srila Prabhupada's back. And you know what he heard? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Like this, Srila Prabhupada's soul was constantly chanting. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada, of course, is the pure devotee, empowered Shaktiavesh avatar. He's constantly chanting. And he himself said, actually, there was never a time when I forgot Krishna. Never a time when I forgot it. Never, ever. So we also can reach that point provided we practice, provided we try, provided we keep the aim of going back home, back to Godhead foremost in our minds, in our consciousness, in our daily activities. We should have that one pointed aim. I want to go back to Krishna. I want to make my life successful. I want to keep doing everything I can to remember Krishna, to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, to worship Krishna. And therefore, I will do everything possible to please him, which means please also his parts and parcels. So we are not saying become callous, indifferent, mean, harsh, cruel, unkind, distant, emotionally unavailable. We are not saying that, not at all. In fact, we should be very loving towards those that Krishna has placed in our lives. We should actually embody Krishna's love by being very Krishna conscious ourselves and constantly trying to give our best in terms of giving them Krishna consciousness. This is the highest welfare work we can do for our family members, for our dependents, for our kith and kin, is to be the most Krishna conscious devotee you can be and benefit them as a result of that. Because now your love is on the spiritual platform. It is addressing the need of the soul of that person. And not just taking care of the bodily needs, though those are very important also, but you're also taking care of the spiritual need of the person, which is to connect to Krishna. So this is the highest welfare activity that one soul can do for another. So Narad Muni is reassuring Yudhishthir Maharaj, you think that they're helpless, poor, old souls, they're dependent on you, what will happen to them? But Krishna has a plan for them. Krishna has a plan for them. And no point lamenting. Don't lament. Instead, save yourself. Srila Prabhupada, once he told a story about a male bird and a female bird and their family of little baby chicks. Hunter came and he shot an arrow through the female bird. So the female bird fluttered down, dying and, crying out. And the male bird was so preoccupied in lamenting and crying and wailing, then next he got shot. So he says like that in this lamenting over something that we have no control over, we should not lose our vision. We should not lose our consciousness. We should not lose our senses. But we should understand that everything happens by the will of the Lord. And we should try our level best to practice Krishna consciousness so that we have knowledge and we have detachment from the play of the material energy. Otherwise, like puppets on a string, will constantly be getting pulled this way and that way, this way and that way. My baby's crying, oh, my baby's crying, oh, my baby's crying. Yes, address that need, address the child's need for comfort, for food, for sleep, whatever it is. But ultimately, we must understand this child is there in my life for a very brief time. One day she or he will grow up, fly out of the nest and lead their own life. Meanwhile, what about me? Where am I headed? If I get too much caught up in family, society, friendship, love, I will simply have to take birth again. Do I want that? You have to see that also, whether we really want to go back to Godhead or we don't mind taking birth again. That's up to us. Krishna doesn't interfere with our free will. But the best thing is to become Krishna conscious, because by that, you will also do the best welfare work for your family. I remember when I came to Krishna consciousness, none of our family members were excited or thrilled. On the other hand, they were quite disdainful and they practically rejected me. So I was very upset, and I was talking to Guru Maharaj, and he said, you know, the best thing you can do for your family is to become Krishna conscious yourself. It is the best thing for your whole family. And now I see, over a period of 20 years, I can see how wise Guru Maharaj was in giving me that instruction. Not was, is in giving that instruction to me, that you become Krishna conscious, because little by little now, slowly, I can see some interest in Krishna consciousness. The rigid position that some of them had, they're softening, because they can see people dying around them. So they're thinking, oh, next it's going to be me. Maybe the Sridevi knows something. Let me listen to what she has to say. So like this, there's a little crack now that maybe I can use to give some Krishna consciousness to others. Not that, you know, I've been holding my breath, trying to help them, because I said it's in Krishna's hands. If it happens, it happens. If it's not, I'll just go on. So that's how it is. The more Krishna conscious we are, the greatest welfare work we can do for others. And Prahlad Maharaj also says the same thing. In fact, when he was asked by Hiranyakashipu, what is the best thing you have learned? What have your teachers taught you? You know what he said? Shravana Kirtana Swarana Vandana Tada Sevana Dasare Pujana Sakhi Jana Atma Nivedana. Like that, he starts naming all the 9 processes of bhakti. This is the best thing I have learned. And it is, because he learned it from Narad Muni. But what Hiranyakashipu was asking, what did Shanda and Amarka, those demoniac teachers, teach you? And Prahlad Maharaj didn't even bother to hear what those teachers had to say. He was simply meditating on the instructions of Narad Muni. Of course, Hiranyakashipu got furious, and we know that story, how it goes. But that didn't stop Prahlad Maharaj. That didn't stop him. He was only 5 years old, but perfectly self-realized. Now, we are not there. I mean, we are all trying. I can think, you know, just speaking of myself, I must have heard 10 quadrillion times, you're not the body. But still, if someone asks, who are you? I'm Indian, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a therapist, I'm a doctor. You know, we go by all these identities. But we are none of these things. Our only eternal identity is loving servitor of Krishna. I'm nothing but an eternal servant of Krishna. That's all. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. So the more we try to become Krishna conscious, the more effective we'll be in our real role, which is to be servant of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya wants this. He wants each and every one to become Krishna conscious and then give Krishna consciousness to others. Srila Prabhupada says that one who gives this knowledge becomes very dear to the Lord, very dear. So you all want to become very dear to the Lord, isn't it? You want to become very dear. So giving this knowledge to others is one of the ways and means to please the Lord, to bring the greatest benefit to ourselves and to others, because what you teach, you remember the most. Some of you are teachers, so I know you know this. So chanting the holy names is the Yuga Dharma for this age of Kali. Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare will bring the light into people's lives, because this is the only means to understand who we really are. Eternal spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna, and loving servitors of Krishna eternally. This will reawaken a loving connection with Krishna, a dormant love of Krishna, which is there in everyone's heart. Every living entity has dormant love of Krishna, but it's only in the human form of life that we can fully realize it. Even the trees and the birds and the bees and the butterflies and the earthworms and the snakes and the Timingala fish and the whales and the elephants, everyone has dormant love of Krishna, but they cannot realize it being in an animal or bird or a snake or a reptile or a worm body. They cannot, because their consciousness is heavily covered over. But we can realize it because we are in the human form of life, which is a very rare gift. Very rare gift. The human form of life we receive after our soul goes through all 8,400,000 species of life. Can you imagine that? Our soul has gone through every species of life, and here we are now in the human form of life. And in this form, we can make the final exit and go back to Krishna. Isn't it wonderful? So, taking part in Krishna consciousness is the highest welfare activity and is the best thing we can do for friends, family, society, nation, country, world, everyone. So, thank you all for listening so patiently. We will now open up for comments, questions, corrections. Yes, Shilpesh Prabhu. Shall I stop the share now? I think I will. And if you can all open up your cameras so we can all see each other, that would be simply wonderful. I can see my God family. Yes, Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev.
Is it true that people in our lives today are due to past lives and past karmas, that we will have certain people, certain family members and so forth in our lives today because of that there's always a connection that carries on?
Yes, that can happen. If we are very, very attached to the family, attached to our kith and kin, it's very likely we will take birth again in that family. It's quite likely. Sometimes they say, oh, she's just like her grandfather. Oh, maybe her grandfather has come back in this, soul, in this body, like that. We say like that when someone is very, very similar, compared to someone who has left their body. So yes, we do have karmic connections, and sometimes we take birth in certain families or have certain relationships because of those karmic connections. True.
So it's like sometimes you have things that need to be finished off. So people might come into your life from, as friends or something, because you have a karmic transaction to complete.
Yeah, but once we come to Krishna consciousness, all these karmic transactions are all nullified by Krishna, because as he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Once you take shelter of me, I will take care of all those things. I will absolve you of anything that is, holding you back. So we don't have to worry. Oh, what about this debt that I had to pay? I committed this murder. What will I have to pay in this life? Prabhupada said, actually, if you have committed murder, then you have to pay the price by being killed in this life. But Krishna is so kind, he will just give you a cut on the finger. So Krishna makes everything very small. Even whatever transactions or whatever debts we have, Krishna takes care of that. Because he becomes so pleased with the devotee for finally coming to his senses and taking up devotional service.
It's interesting.
Like a loving father wants to do everything he can to help his child come up in life. Krishna tries to do everything he can to help us make nice progress towards him.
Do you find that sometimes other devotees will come into your life that you might have very loving exchanges with, but then things fall apart because Krishna needed you to teach you a lesson?
Sometimes that can happen, some misunderstanding, disharmony, conflict. Sometimes, between a couple, divorce occurs, separation happens, or one dies, something like that. Yes, it can happen. There is no guarantee that it will not happen just because I'm a devotee. It can happen.
But there's something to be learned, I'm guessing, in those experiences. That was some kind of...
Yes, every situation is a learning experience. We can definitely learn something from everything, every interaction actually. We can learn something from that.
It reminds me of what Maharaj said, I think, yesterday. Don't blame the instrument of your karma, the person who delivers it.
Yes, Prabhupada said that when something bad happens to you, it's so easy to get angry with that person, to blame that person. Oh, you cheated me. You took so much of my money away. You did this, you did that. You're such a rascal. You're such a cheat. I don't know why I ever trusted you, etc., etc. And this actually happened to one of our devotees, Peter Burbosh. He's actually a Fortune 500 company CEO. He's a big man. But when he first started, he had made a big donation and the temple president ran off with that money. Imagine that. He was so upset. He was so upset. And he went and complained to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada said, do not be disturbed by the instrument of your karma. Very instructive lesson. Because we must understand that nothing happens without the will of the Lord. Nothing. Not even one blade of grass can stir without the sanction of the Lord. So everything that is happening is under his control. And there are lessons to be learned.
And can we, well, I guess we can, but we can become self-realized in one lifetime. We can know our own soul rather than identify with a material body.
Yes, Prabhupada said, finish up your business in this lifetime. Don't make me come back. So he wants us to become self-realized in one lifetime. We may not be able to do that. It may not be, possible for each and every one of us because it all depends on where we are in that journey. And what is our level of practice also. Some souls are already highly evolved. For them, it's easier. But for some of us, we have a lot of baggage, a lot of things to overcome, a lot of bad tendencies, bad attitudes, heavy anarthas, and so on. It may be a little more difficult. But one thing is sure, if you are determined and you're willing to do the hard work of cleaning up your heart, Krishna will help. The holy name is so powerful because it's non-different from Krishna. And it can crush all those anarthas and then blow it off like powder, gone. So the key is to chant very sincerely. Then we can get rid of even very deep-seated anarthas. Yes, possible.
Thank you, Mataji. Helpful, very helpful.
Thank you. You ask such nice questions. It provokes such a good discussion. Thank you for asking such nice questions, Sridevi Dasi. So we have several mummies online. We have Anahita, who has a lovely child, or two, I think. I'm not sure. One girl, I think. Isn't it, Anahita? Then we have Scarlett, who has 6 children. Anahita, you have a baby girl, right? Daughter, right?
Hare Krishna, yes. Yes, one daughter, Nayana. Yeah.
I remember. Adorable little girl. Then we have Parikshit Prabhu, who has 2 beautiful daughters. Sukhavaha also, who has 2 kids. Revati has 2 sons. All of you must be cursing me. Srimati has 2 good children. Bhadra Mataji, I don't know. Tirtha Kirti has 2 sons. Shilpesh Prabhu, you have kids? No kids. Okay. So all of you must be saying this Mataji is too much. She's telling us to get detached from our kids whom we love so dearly and think of Krishna. What is this? No, I'm not saying you should love your kids any less. In fact, love them more by becoming Krishna conscious. You can be the best mom, the more Krishna conscious you are. Is that all right, Anahita? You're not going to throw tomatoes at me, are you?
No, of course not. No, I just want to say thank you for the talk. It's very helpful because it helps me detach and remember, actually, she's not mine, she's Krishna's, and Krishna gave me her to help her get back to God and help, and also he gave it like to me to help me get back to God. Like, I learned so many lessons from her, even though she's only 4, but she teaches me every day patience, how to be humble, to, you know, and she basically just came to, yeah, purify me to get back to God. So yeah,
Wonderful.
definitely.
You know, that's so nice what you said. It reminds me of Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18, that the role of a father and a mother is to help their dependents to go back home, back to Godhead. One should never become a father, mother, guru, worshipable demigod, or a husband unless and until he can deliver his dependents from the cycle of birth and death. That is Rishabdev's instructions to his sons in that particular chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, very famous verse. There it is said that this is the responsibility of every mother and father, husband, guru, and a worshipable demigod, that one should never take on these roles unless and until one delivers one's dependence from the cycle of birth and death. So it's a big responsibility.
Hare Krishna, just about to say, I completely agree with that, and I feel that unfortunately, a lot of people have children and they don't understand that, and they don't realize that, and I think it needs to be made more aware, especially in the KC community, because I think sometimes people have children just for the sake of having children, which I think can be detrimental to them as well as, you know, us. So, and yeah, it is very hard raising a little human, because they have their own path, which is something really we find hard. We have an idea of what we think their life's going to be, what we want them to do, how we want them to do it, but actually they have their own way already. They're their own soul, and you know, they have their own destiny with Krishna and path. So it's about being detached from that as well, and trying to mold them into something, but letting them get their way back to Krishna as well.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm having to learn that lesson now.
Yeah.
I have a big grown-up daughter and she reminds me every day not to push it.
Oh.
I'm always trying to her to become Krishna and she's always telling me to chill.
Well, mine's only 4 and she's reminding me to do that now, so
yeah, so sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you for
yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, Khaled Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for class today. And I'm very, very, very sorry to be late. I was purchasing flower for my altar and distributing books, so that's why I was late. When you say about the children, I came very, very, very late into Krishna consciousness movement and learn about the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, and so on and so on. By then, my children was already adults. You know what I mean? So I still try to give them books, to ask them, to talk to them whenever I can. As soon as they call me, I try to find somewhere to just pick up the talking about Lord Krishna and why we are here and so on and so on. But in the same time, it is a kind of difficult, might I say, that because of course you want them to come to the Krishna consciousness, but at the same time, I don't want to do it almost too much so that they get resented. I'm afraid that for them to resent. At the moment, they are not resenting. They are there just thinking, wow, mom, you have find something very nice for yourself. Wow, nice. But I don't want to push them too much, because if I push them too much, they can this they can
Right. Can backfire.
I don't want them to do, because I'm afraid that I be a reason for them to get bad karma because of what they think, what they feel about the things. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that's why it's kind of a very fine line for me to how to do it, what to do, how to talk to them, so that it doesn't make them to just resent it altogether. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Mine was an adult too. She was 25 years old. And, I sort of started talking about Krishna consciousness, and Guru Maharaj said the same thing. Don't push anything. You just be Krishna conscious yourself. And that is, your life, and your life should be the example. You don't have to say very much, So becoming the most Krishna conscious mother person you can be is the best way to teach. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, we preach, and sometimes we use words. So it's not so much words, it's how we are, what we do, how we conduct ourselves, what principles and values we live by. That speaks more than 1,000 lectures. They all know now that you love Krishna, you love to offer prasad, you love to give books, you love to live this philosophy. They all know that. So that itself is preaching. So you just continue to try and be the best Krishna conscious devotee you can be, and that is the best thing you can do for your family. The rest is in Krishna's hands. We can never, ever force anyone to do anything. Even if your kids were born into the movement, there's no guarantee. So many kids after teenage years, even though they're born in the movement, they choose not to practice. And parents can't do anything about it. You see? So every soul, as Anahita said, has its own path back to Krishna. The best thing you can do is to be Krishna conscious yourself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anahita says, I was born into the movement, and as a teen, I didn't want to practice. Yeah, that happens. You go through that rebellious phase and you say, I don't want to do all this stuff. But then I came back due to my parents, because they didn't push me too much. Yes, that is so true. Every teenager has to make that choice for their own selves. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, but they were good role models. That's exactly it. The good role modeling is the key, We must try to be the best Krishna conscious devotee we can be. And that's the best advertisement. Thank you, Anahita, for sharing that. Yes, Shilpesh Prabhu, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment that Keshav Maharaj often talks about the hero's journey. And, that's for your children. They have to find their place in this world. So, like we've discussed, they may go away for a while, but they may come back after because you set the right values from them when they were younger. So, I think we all have to find our own journey on this planet. And, to be born into a Krishna conscious family, or, it's amazing. And I think, there's a lot of sukriti there from past lives for that to happen. But like you said, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will continue. But it might happen it will happen in another lifetime. I think anybody who's exposed to, Krishna, it's guaranteed that they'll be, they'll become a devotee in another lifetime. That's my belief.
Right. That is so true. My mentor says, spiritual selfishness is the greatest welfare activity. That sounds odd, isn't it? Spiritual selfishness is the greatest welfare activity? How is that? It just means the more and more you become Krishna conscious, the more and more you can do real welfare work for everyone. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. 7:5:31. In that, Prahlad Maharaj says, the greatest self-interest is to become Krishna conscious. And therefore, the greatest welfare work is also to become Krishna conscious oneself. And then help others who are interested to become Krishna conscious. Like for me, my family is not really interested. None of my family members, my cousins, uncles, no one is interested. And it was really hard for me in the beginning because I didn't have any family support whatsoever. And I would keep trying, and Guru Maharaj would always be drilling it into my head. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. So finally, I guess something must have penetrated into my head. I gave up. And I just started focusing on, trying my best to please Guru Maharaj by preaching as he wanted me to preach. And now look, I have my God family to talk to about Krishna. And I couldn't ask for anything better than this because all of you are so wonderful. All of you are interested in Krishna consciousness. All of you want to know about Krishna. You ask such nice questions. So it's like a very nice exchange. I'm not forcing you. You're not forcing me. We are in this, together, trying to become more Krishna conscious. What can be better than this? And then Guru Maharaj said, a biological family is just there. It's really a spiritual family, which is our real family. Thank you, Parikshit Prabhu, for your encouragement, for being there. It's always nice to have you with us.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, God you Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Bol.
Hare.
I wish you didn't have to go. Maybe you could speak a few words as a father of two wonderful devotee girls before you go.
You said it all, even though you're not a father, but we're not based on designations, as you well know. And your enthusiasm is always very infectious, which is wonderful.
I think that's just about the only thing I have going for me, Parikshit Prabhu. One saving grace Krishna left for me to have.
It's a very, very important quality, though, to have. Very important quality.
Thank you.
So,
thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
I have
Hare
to.
Krishna. My obeisances to you.
Krishna.
Oh, Revati, sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj.
Revati, please accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev.
Thank you, Mataji, for the very nice class. So I just I always had this question, like you mentioned Mother Kunti, like a devotee who suffered in the end. She has done a lot of services, completely dedicated herself. So we hear a lot of this. I mean, why, when they have engaged in devotional service, you also hear when you engage in devotional service or when you do any good deeds, when you leave the body, you won't really suffer, right? So how should we understand this?
Well, the thing is, devotees do go through physical suffering, physical pain, and so on, but they transcend it by the power of their Krishna consciousness. It's like Krishna consciousness is like an anesthetic, Yes, your body may go through so many things, but you don't get so affected because your consciousness is on a higher plane. So it's not that devotees don't get illnesses or don't have accidents or don't have some trauma. They do. But because they have been practicing, remembering Krishna along the journey, they have tolerated so many different situations. So even though a very painful situation may come, because they have been practicing Krishna consciousness, they are able to transcend that suffering situation and continue to remain focused on Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Mataji, yes. As their consciousness will be very higher, so they don't really attached to the body, so they don't experience that pain.
Exactly.
Also, like heard like in some of the classes, like when you do like so my question is like when you do good deeds, right? So when you leave the body, it's going to be like you don't experience that bodily sufferings. It's going to be like you will leave the body in a very harmonious way, not like suffering.
Not
So
necessarily, because it is not that you have done devotional service, so you're going to have very harmonious exit. And sometimes it may happen like that, and sometimes it may not. It is not like a guaranteed position. Oh, I've done so many pious deeds. I've distributed 5,000 books in my lifetime. So Krishna, at the end, let it be very harmonious. We can't order Krishna to do that. Maybe we can pray for that if that's what you want, but it may not be that our exit will be exactly harmonious. But one thing is sure, if we have been sincere all our life, the mercy of the Lord will be there. He will protect our consciousness. Even if we cannot remember Krishna, Krishna will force himself into our consciousness because we have sincerely tried to execute the orders of the Guru. We have sincerely tried to be Krishna conscious all our life, whatever it may be till that point. So the mercy of Guru and Krishna will be there to help us at the time of death. That much is definite. But what kind of exit we will have, that no one knows, Devati. If you look at 8, 15 and 16, Bhagavad Gita, it is said that there, Srila Prabhupada writes, devotee should not worry whether he lives by accident or by arrangement of the Lord. He should be confident of the mercy of the Lord, like that. Let me see if I can pull it up. So, don't have any fears, basically. What I'm trying to say is, don't be fearful that, oh, at the time of death, will I have a harmonious death? Will I not have a harmonious death? All that is in Krishna's hands. What we can strive for is to become more and more Krishna conscious now.
Yeah, Mataji. Yeah.
I think it's either 8:16 or 8. Let me see if I can pull it up, okay? We are talking about Bhagavad Gita. Devotee should not worry whether he lives by accident or by arrangement. Let me put that in the devotee. By accident or by arrangement. Right. See this one. A devotee should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. The devotee should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna. He should know that concern over either of these two paths is troublesome. So basically, Prabhupada is saying, don't worry. Do you see that? Let me share screen. Devotee should not worry whether he lives by. You can read more about it. Let me see if I can. Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by the different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. A devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry. Do you see that, Revati? I'll highlight it. Whether he will depart either by arrangement or by accident. He should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna. He should know that concern over either of these two paths is troublesome. The best way to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness is to be always dovetailed in his service. And this will make one's path to the spiritual kingdom safe, certain, and direct. The word Yoga Yukta is especially significant in this verse. One who is firm in yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness in all his activities. Srila Rupa Goswami says one should be unattached in the material world and all affairs should be steeped in Krishna consciousness. In this way, one attains perfection. Therefore, the devotee is not disturbed by these descriptions because he knows that his passage to the supreme abode is guaranteed by devotional service. Yeah, it's 827, sorry, not 816. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
Yeah, and you can read more about this point just to reassure yourself that Krishna doesn't forsake his devotee. Krishna's grace, Krishna's mercy, Guru Maharaj's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy will always be with you. The trick is to always be dovetailed in service to Krishna. That means we should constantly be hearing, reading, chanting, engaging. Even when you are cooking, sound vibration should be on. Even when we are driving, sound vibration should be on. Even when we are bathing, we should be chanting the holy. I mean, in every activity, more and more Krishna consciousness should come, more, so that we are completely absorbed in Krishna all the time. Right now, our minds are all over the place, but we should keep on trying to bring it back to Krishna. Satatam kirtayanto mam.
Yes.
Yatantascha dhridvritaha. Always chanting my glories. Let us go to that verse. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Yatantascha dhridvritaha. 9:14. Okay? We will read this verse also. It is so nice. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhridvrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So you see what Krishna wants us to do? He wants us to always chant his glories, endeavor with great determination, bow down before him, and perpetually worship him. He says also, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. 1855 and 934 both have the same first two lines. Let's go to 18. Let's go to 934 and I'll show you the. Here it is. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam madprayanaha. What does Krishna say we should do? Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Now, the same Manmana bhava madbhakto is also there in 1865, I believe. Let's see. Here we go. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So Krishna is asking us to do those four things. And then he says, you will come to me without fail. And I'm promising you this because you're my very dear friend. And Krishna, he's not like us. When he makes a promise, he keeps it. So we should keep our part of the bargain, which means always think of me, become my devotee, offer your homage to me, worship me. All these things, four things, we constantly keep in this mood. Then we will be absorbed more and more and more in Krishna. And Krishna will surely take us back home, back to Godhead. Don't worry.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. I just was asking because I see so many devotees, going through so many things. So that's why.
Yeah. Life in Kali Yuga is very heavy, very, very heavy. And the material energy is very fearsome. It's a very fearful place. Padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. Danger at every step. That is why Guru Maharaj is always asking us to be so careful. be so careful of the material energy, to always be in a mood of Krishna consciousness, to always be chanting with great enthusiasm, with great attention and devotion, not be neglectful of our spiritual life, because that will help us. You see?
Yes, very true. Mm. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for sharing all those verses. Beautiful.
Yeah, don't worry. Krishna is there. He will always be there to protect you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. So I don't see any other raised hands or questions in the chat. So if everyone is okay, we can end the call now. Thank you all for listening so patiently and asking such nice questions. I'm not sure I was able to satisfy you. You're welcome to ask Guru Maharaj. And Hare Krishna, Srimati. Shall
Hare
we end the
Krishna.
call?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Very nice discussion. I was listening. Yeah, you mentioned a lot of points which we have to think about it. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for the wonderful class in the last minute. So I'm always grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to serve the devotees. Thank you for empowering me to give the class.
You are
I'm
my
always
savior.
grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Oh, thank
Mataji.
you, Sukavaha. She's also always encouraging me, no matter how badly I'm doing. I have such a wonderful God family that I have to try and improve now. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
No, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. So I'll end the call now. Thank you so much, devotees. Tomorrow, Guru Maharaj will give class.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.